Did you ever have this unsettling realization dawn on you? You have spent your entire life preparing for a moment that is never going to arrive. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself that you need one more book, one more podcast, one more course, one more year of studying before you begin? You scroll, you watch, you learn, convincing yourself that you are growing. And yet, when the moment comes to create, you hesitate, you doubt, you consume more, hoping that inspiration will strike like lightning, but it never does. You are drowning in knowledge, yet starved of action. We have never been more informed, yet we have never been more paralyzed. We hoard ideas but produce nothing. We seek enlightenment but remain unchanged. We spend years preparing to live, but never truly begin. Why? Is it fear? Perhaps. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear that what you create will not be good enough. What if the problem isn't that you lack knowledge? What if the problem is that you've been conditioned to believe that knowledge must precede action, that mastery must come before movement? What if the truth is something far simpler, that action itself is the source of mastery? That inspiration is not something to wait for, but something to be generated? And what if I told you that the most powerful creators, the ones who reshape the world, do not wait until they are ready? That they do not consume to prepare, they create to transform? Because the truth is this: you will never feel ready. And that is exactly why you must begin. You were not born like this. No child hesitates before creating. No child waits until they feel ready to draw, build, sing, dance, or imagine. They do not ask for permission to create. They simply do it. They are not concerned with whether their work is perfect, whether it will be liked, or whether it measures up to some external standard. So what happened to you? How did you go from a being that instinctively creates to one that endlessly consumes? You believe that before you create, you must first be an expert. Before you speak, you must first be certified. Before you build, you must first be ready. But this is a lie, a deception so deep, so pervasive, that most never question it. Nietzsche warned of this passivity, this slow decay of the human spirit. He called it the herd mentality, a state in which individuals lose their will to create, to rebel, to shape the world in their own image. Instead, they follow, they absorb, they consume. They seek security over self-expression, validation over originality. And what happens to those who remain trapped in this cycle? The tragic fate of the unexpressed self. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the suppressed parts of yourself that you deny, ignore, or bury. The ideas you never acted on, the words you never spoke, the art you never made. And what happens to that unexpressed self? It does not disappear. It festers. It curdles into resentment, self-doubt, and existential frustration. It manifests as the gnawing sense that something is missing, that your life is not your own, that you are watching from the sidelines while something deep within you longs to be set free. This is why, despite all you have consumed, you still feel incomplete, because consumption was never the answer, because the only way to break free is not to know more, but to create more. But here is the secret that no one told you. Creation is not something you do once you are ready. Creation is the thing that makes you ready. You do not become an artist and then paint. You paint, and in doing so, you become an artist. You do not become a writer and then write. You write, and in doing so, you become a writer. You do not become anything through passive preparation. You become through action. There is a cost to not creating. Every idea that dies within you, every book unwritten, every song unsung, every invention unbuilt, is a weight on your soul. You may think that avoiding risk keeps you safe, but what it actually does is slowly erode you from within. This is why you feel restless. This is why no amount of knowledge ever feels like enough. Because deep down, your soul knows that it was not made to be a spectator. It was made to build, to shape, to bring something into existence that did not exist before. And every moment you delay, a part of you fades. But what if I told you it is not too late? What if I told you that the moment you stop hesitating, everything will change? Not in some abstract, distant way, but instantly. Because once you begin creating, the weight disappears, the fear dissolves, the hesitation fades. You realize that you were never missing knowledge, only courage, and courage can be built. How do you unlearn the conditioning that has kept you passive? How do you break free from the forces that have made you hesitate for so long? You've been trapped in the cycle for so long that it feels normal. You consume, you analyze, you absorb. You mistake knowledge for transformation. You mistake preparation for progress. You mistake inspiration for action. But deep down, something inside you knows that you were not meant to merely watch, knows that you were meant to build, to shape, to bring forth something that was never here before, knows that the only way out of this paralysis is not to think more, but to act differently. This is where your rebellion begins, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not after another course, another book, another insight, now. Because the only way to escape the trap of consumption is to do the opposite of everything you've been conditioned to do. You must simply start. What if you started your day by creating first? Before you watch, before you scroll, before you absorb, you make something, write something, even if it's a single sentence, draw something, even if it's crude, speak something, even if no one listens, build something, even if it's incomplete. The point is not to be great. The point is to break the cycle, because the mind you cultivate in the first hour of your day dictates the mind you carry into the rest of it. If you begin in creation, you begin in power. But what about failure? What about criticism? Isn't that why you hesitate? To avoid the sting of rejection, the pain of being seen before you are perfect? Understand this. If you create, you will be judged. If you do nothing, you will also be judged. But only one of these paths leads to freedom, because there is no pain worse than the pain of knowing that you never even tried. The fear of being seen as imperfect is the fear that keeps people invisible. It is the fear that silences voices before they ever speak. But here is a truth that will set you free. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. People are too consumed by their own struggles, their own fears, their own hesitation to spend much time dissecting yours. And even if they did, why should it matter? Are you creating to please the masses or to express what must be expressed? Are you building for validation or because something inside you refuses to remain unbuilt? Because if you create with the goal of being accepted, you will create nothing. But if you create with the goal of being true, then nothing else matters. And once you start, something incredible happens. A shift, a momentum, a force greater than fear, greater than hesitation. You begin to see the world differently. You begin to understand that you were never meant to just observe. You are meant to bring forth. And when you do, when you break the chains of hesitation and step into the world of creation, something else emerges, a final, undeniable truth, one that changes everything. Imagine this. You are standing at the edge of your own existence, staring at the vast unknown that lies beyond. You look back and see two paths. The path of hesitation, where you consumed endlessly, waited endlessly, doubted endlessly, and the path of creation, where you stepped forward despite fear, despite imperfection, despite uncertainty, and now, in this moment, you must choose. Creation is the fundamental act of existence itself. Every word you speak creates a reality. Every action you take shapes your destiny. Every decision you make is an act of authorship in the story of your life. The universe is not asking you to prepare. It is not asking you to wait until you are ready. It is asking you to participate. Right now, in this moment, you are being given a choice to continue waiting, or to finally, fully, step into the role you were meant to play, the creator of your own existence. There is only the version of you that chooses. Time is slipping through your fingers, with or without your permission, and in the end, you will not regret the things you tried that didn't work. You will not regret the ideas that failed, the projects that flopped, the creations that were imperfect. You will regret the silence, the words you never spoke, the visions you never pursued, the work you never allowed yourself to bring into the world. Do not wait for clarity. Clarity comes from motion. Do not wait for courage. Courage is built through action. Do not wait for permission. Permission is an illusion. Begin. There is a moment in every creator's life where the hesitation breaks, where they realize that waiting was the real enemy, where they stop seeking perfection and start seeking progress, where they stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I succeed?" And when that moment comes, something irreversible happens. You stop seeing yourself as someone who wants to create. You start seeing yourself as someone who must create. Because the truth is, if you are not creating, you are decaying. If you are not moving forward, you are sliding backward. If you are not shaping your life, someone else is shaping it for you. So now, at this moment, there is only one question left. This is it. Right now, to step forward, to write the first words, even if they are messy, to build the first version, even if it is flawed, to share your work, even if it is incomplete, not because it will be perfect, not because the world is waiting, but because you must. Because the act of creating is the act of becoming. And once you begin, once you break through the paralysis, nothing will ever be the same again. So, I ask you one final time, will you consume or will you create? Because the choice has always been yours, and time will not wait for your answer.